And thank you for being here, of course. This After School Serves Tennessee training is provided by Tennessee After School Network. Also, if you haven't joined, you can on their website, or you can email Mary. She'll let you know how to do that. And then we want to thank our sponsors today, NYLC, Volunteer Tennessee, and the United Way. If you have any grant questions, you need a certificate or from past training, or need a TA on substantive content to help implement your projects, Mary has a consultant standing by. So she said also age appropriate information on the opioid crisis, connections to local government, around disaster plans or local statistics, or cooperations with a big STEM focus. She's got information for you. So if you have any questions or concerns, please contact Mary and she will take care of you.
And so, folks, we'll start with a couple of housekeeping items. Terry already mentioned the survey. If you have not already submitted your survey from the last webinar, Terry, I believe, has sent you a link again. Please do that. Remember that you need to do that to qualify for your certificate. And then be sure to email Terry and tell her you've done it, because this survey was set up to be anonymous. So we have no way of knowing which ones of you send it in if you don't email her.
And Chip, I just put the link in the chat window in case you've lost that link to that first survey.
Oh, excellent. Thanks, Terry.
Mm-hmm.
Now, today we're going to talk some. Hopefully everybody's going to talk some. And we're going to start right now with a brief reflection on the last webinar. What did we accomplish last time? What did we learn? What did we do?
You want people to unmute themselves?
Yes, please. Unmute, and so you can.
Maybe the snow has frozen everybody.
Must be.
Uh-huh.
I guess they all slept through our session last time.
No, no way. There's Venus. I think Venus wants to talk.
I'm trying to start my video. It won't start for some reason. Can y'all hear me?
I'm sorry. I could barely hear you. Can you turn up your volume just a little bit?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Oh, that's better. Thanks.
Okay, sorry about that. I was trying to start my video, but it won't start for some reason. I remember that, well, first of all, I wanted to say that I thought it was really cool how the webinar was interactive with the different, being able to use the annotations and the different stuff like that, because I'd never done that before in a Zoom meeting, so that was pretty cool. And the little app game that we played, that was fun too. And we talked about the, am I going to say this right? The IPARDE method, IPARDE, I think it was. So we learned about that on the call.
Thanks, Venus. Anybody else? Well, then we're going to move on just a little bit, and we're going to look at today's webinar and today's theme. You may have picked up by now that we're using the Wizard of Oz as our overall presentation. And this week's theme is Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And the idea behind that one is, as you're looking way out there and seeing new things and new possibilities, we hope that everybody is going to start thinking out of the box to really get some outstanding activities going on for your kids. And we're going to look at some other things today that hopefully will help you do that.
Mhm.
And we're going to start right now with Terry looking at an activity.
Okay, thank you. I want to say this, everybody. I'm going to put this in the chat window, the link to this Padlet. Chip and I are going to try to model some best practices for you for virtual learning in case you will find yourself in that situation. But let me say this. We got on early this morning and both of us were having some issues. So if we have issues, we'll drop the football and punt, right, Chip? So
Absolutely.
go ahead and go to the Padlet. And I've got the link there right in the chat window. And as you can see, I'm going to share my screen. And this is called Padlet. And in this Padlet, I want you to share something we would not know about you otherwise. As you can see, I've already posted, Terry is an avid rucker. And if you don't know what rucking is, you can follow a link and figure out what that is. So go ahead and add something that we would not know about you. Let's see what kind of things we've got folks in this chat room doing, or something that something you enjoy doing, or something that that we wouldn't know otherwise. So go ahead and see if you can get in and add something you would not know about me. And while you're doing that, Padlet is free. You can make up to 5 before you have to subscribe and pay. What I do is I use the 5 that I have and I revise them so I don't have to pay for a subscription to Padlet. Chip, are you able to get into Padlet?
Oh, I'm using the timer, so I can't use the phone.
Okay.
But I did
There we
post.
go.
Oh, look at that.
There we go. Wow, Adam was a meteorologist. Did you predict this weather? Oh, there we go. That's nice.
Oh, Miller looks like a nice one.
Uh-huh. Wow. Someone's been 32 years as a teacher and administrator. Nice.
Now, I didn't see that one yet. Oh, yeah, there it is.
Huh? Emily loves to read books. Thank you, Emily. Venus loves to fly kites. What else? Something we wouldn't know about you. And if you're first time at Padlet, there's a little circle down here that's got a plus sign in it. If you click on it, it will allow you to add your Padlet post. This is really good for virtual learning. I use it with my students to, if I post a question, that they can go in and answer it. If I've got a problem for them to work out, they can go in and work it out here, and I can see and give them feedback. So it's a very useful technology tool.
Iris is a twin.
Oh.
If I was a twin, I wouldn't admit it because 2 of me is scary.
Let's see if I can open it up just a little bit. There we go. Oh, Vanessa collects golf balls. Okay.
Oh, when she travels. Okay.
Very neat. That's really neat. Gonna wait just a minute. And we're this is something that we encourage you to do as you go through service learning, that you do a lot of reflecting. Reflect before, during, and after. As much reflection as you can to let students really think about what's going on. also to let them get to know each other. Sometimes, well, during this time of COVID, our pandemic, it's been a challenge to get people to open up and to, really get to know each other. But this is one really good way to get students to open up and share and share things about themselves so that we can get to know each other. I still enjoy bedtime stories. Very nice. Okay. Oh, Caitlin read 80 books last year. Wow. Way to go, Caitlin. That's awesome.
I
Okay.
love to read.
Well, then that would be what you would put here, Chip. Yes, but we probably know that about you. Okay, I'm going to stop my screen share now. And I'm going to go back to Chip. Thank you guys for your participation in our Padlet. I see Chip wrote into the chat window that he loves to cook. Okay. Thank you.
Terry, do you see the PowerPoint?
Yes, I do. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So as we move on, at least I thought we were going to move on.
Might take it a minute.
It's not liking me this morning.
You want to,
Terry, can you advance it?
I cannot, it's on your computer. I cannot advance yours, but I can pull up there you go.
There it goes.
There you go. Perfect.
Okay.
Yay.
Folks, we talked about some of the quality standards last time. This time we're going to talk about a few more. And the first one is student voice. And this is what gives our kids the opportunity to really buy into whatever the project may be. If they have the opportunity to really influence what the decision is in terms of the activity, specific activity that you guys are going to do. And it empowers them to really buy into and make decisions for the group. So voice is really important. What we have to also think about is that there are other things that the kids gain out of having that voice. So I'm going to ask you to look very carefully at the sentence under the heading student voice. Service learning provides opportunities for students to be involved with planning, implementing, and evaluating service learning, giving them, and then the word voice is in a different color. We're going to put you into breakout rooms. And in those breakout rooms, we're going to only give you 5 minutes. I'd like you to come up with 5 other skills that the kids will gain that you could replace that term with the word voice that's on there. I said that wrong. That you would replace the word voice with the terms you're going to come up with. So for example, I'll give you one that you can't use. How about give them student empowerment? Mm. So what we're going to do, Terry, we have 16 people, so maybe 4 rooms.
I've created 5 for 3 to 4 people per room. Is that okay?
Sure, that's fine. Go ahead.
Are you ready for them to go ahead and go?
Yes, put them in the rooms and give them 5 minutes, please.
Got it. There we go.
Yeah. Well, my computer setup has changed yet again. Now
Wow.
I can see the screen and the PowerPoint, but I can't see the preview. But that allows me, I could have done the the breakout room.
That's okay. That's all right.
It's
I just went ahead and did that because I was sitting here and I thought I'll go ahead and do that because I
yeah,
could.
that's wonderful.
Okay. I have a big screen. I have a big computer screen, so I can push things in corners and see everything. So I have a little advantage.
Well, see, and I have dual monitors on my desk.
Oh, there you go.
So I can see you and me on one monitor, and I can actually still see the PowerPoint on the other monitor.
We're really going to have to work at getting these people to open up.
Yeah, that's for sure.
They're just very quiet. Oh, goodness. All right. How are we on time? Are we where we're supposed to be? Or are we ahead or are we behind? 9:50.
We're a little bit behind.
Okay, good. Because I was afraid that we were, and we can catch up.
Because it depends upon if we can get them to talk about this activity.
Well, I tell you what, we'll go from one room to the next. And I'm going to take a screenshot of who's in the rooms. Whoops. Let's see. Kate, did you get kicked out of your room or did you get into a room?
I think I got kicked out.
All right, let me see if I can put you back in.
Okay, thank you.
Which room were you in?
1.
Okay. It says you have not joined. Is there a way you can join that room again?
I don't see anything on my end.
Try to
There
right
should
click.
be a window that says join, isn't there?
I clicked it the first time. Oh, hold on. Okay, I got it.
I think it's just loaded.
Yeah, sure. Okay, Chip, I'm going to send you. Can you get into your email?
No, I don't have a. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, I.
Okay, I'm going to send you a picture of the rooms and you can call on people. How about that?
Okay.
Now, hang on just a second here. Browse this computer. Browse this computer. Screenshot. Breakout rooms. Okay. Hang on just a second. Okay. All right. Here we go. And now it's coming to you. All right, I'm going to give them a minute. Bring them back.
Okay. Oh, your email just came in.
Okay. All right, here we go. The close in 1 minute.
Looks like Emily came back already.
Good. They're slowly coming back.
Terry, now that I put that screen back up, I can't see the email anymore.
Okay. We'll just go through the rooms then if you want. I have the names, but if you want to just
Yeah, that's what I'll do.
1, 2, 3, 4, there were 5 rooms. All right, 2. All right, they should all be closed now.
Okay, folks, welcome back. I'm going to ask the folks who were in room number 1, first of all, what words did you guys come up with? Somebody from room 1?
Iris or Kate?
One word that comes to mind is autonomy.
Mm,
Okay. Any others? Kate, what did you come up with?
I don't see Kate. I don't
Oh,
see.
I can see her. She unmuted herself.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yes, I'm here. Hi. Confidence.
Ooh.
Good one. I'll
Okay.
take notes if you want me to, Chip, if you want to go through this.
Okay, how about room 2? Terry, can you give us the names of somebody in room 2?
Andrea, Cooper, Emily, and Bricky, SOD Bricky.
We said enable, perspective, and opinion.
Ooh.
Okay.
Outstanding. How about room 3?
Donna, Cindy.
Hey, so we had confidence, value, collaboration skills, and leadership.
Oh, wow. Okay, that takes us to room 4.
Adam, Allie, Shades.
Had fulfillment, ownership, and self-awareness.
Fulfillment, ownership, and self-awareness. Wow.
Nice.
And room 5.
June, Sharon, Venus.
We had confidence, collaboration, team building, growth, public speaking enhancement, empathy, compassion, leadership, and creativity.
I can't write that fast. But everything I heard you say was outstanding.
And remember, Chip, we are recording this, so we can go back and get that.
Sure. Folks, the idea behind this is to show the value of student voice, of giving the kids the opportunity to really express themselves and make decisions for themselves. Every single quality that you came up with, and I'm blown away that there was very, very little overlap, but that makes it even better. Every single quality you came up with was absolutely correct and outstanding, because this is what kids are getting by truly participating in a good service learning project that follows the student voice. Now, I'm going to pause for 1 second and say, yes, we understand that there are some times that the amount of time you have with the kids doesn't always allow for a lot of student voice. And that's what I think a lot of people will cut if they don't have enough time. Please, 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 if you can in any way figure it out, allow the kids some time to talk about what they're going to do and express their opinions. As you just showed, it's so very valuable for those kids. And now we're going to go to the next one with Terry.
Thank you, Chip. So another piece that's extremely important is the meaningful service. And when you allow students to engage in meaningful and personally relevant service learning activities, they gain so much more out of the service learning, I'm going to say. There are 4 types that you need to know about. One is direct service, and this is face-to-face. Indirect service is where you're doing kind of behind the scenes type of work. You don't have direct contact with those that you're serving. And then, of course, there's advocacy. And this is where you are telling, writing, or persuading individuals about community needs. And then there's research, where you gather and present information on, need projects or areas of interest. So what we're going to do now, again, we're going to go into breakout rooms, and hopefully you will be with different people. I'm going to put a types of service learning matchup in the chat window. And what I'd like for you to do is to match up the service learning types with possible projects. So you'll see at the top of the document, you'll see service learning types, and I've got those definitions there again: indirect, direct, advocacy, and research. And below, you will see possible projects. So one person in your group needs to be the writer to fill in at the bottom of the possible project with the service learning type. So take some time and talk about what type of service learning that would be for that possible project. And we're going to give you, I believe, about 7 minutes for this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put the document into the chat window. You'll also notice that I put in types of service learning and a document for later reading. Okay, there's the matchup. So make sure that you access that document before you go into your breakout rooms. Oh, you already have the breakout rooms, Chip?
No, I don't have them.
Okay, I'm going to recreate. I'm going to have 5 breakout rooms, and there you go. Okay. Okay, so Cooper said that his microphone's not working, but he's there. I'll go into it. Okay, so we've got, how are we doing on time, Chip?
We're fine.
And again, remember, we're recording this. So if you need to go back and get those words that were listed from that first activity.
Oh, yeah, I can do that later.
Okay, good.
And now the breakout room icon is back up. I don't know where it went, but
I'm so sorry. This is Vanessa with Shades of Development. I got kicked out. My internet kicked off for some reason, kicked me out. I did not get put in a breakout room.
Okay, I'll take care of that for you. Let me see. There you are. I'm going to move you to room number 5. Okay, and then we've got one more person who came in. Hey, I had to go into one of the rooms and help them open up their file.
Oh, okay.
How we doing?
We're fine. We're way ahead. We got all
Good.
kinds of time.
Good, because there's about 8 of those scenarios, so we'll give them time for that. Oops.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not mean to close the breakout rooms. I hope no. No, 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 no. They're not supposed to close. Why is it closing?
Doesn't look like they're closing. They're not
Yep.
coming back.
They are at 42 seconds. I wonder if I can stop that. Oh, this is so frustrating. I'm going to open them back up when they come back. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I didn't stop it from. Show all meeting controls. Let me see if I can keep it going. No, I don't know how to do that. I'm gonna, when they come back in, if it closes, I'm gonna let them go back into their breakout rooms manually. They'll know which room to go back into.
There they all are.
I am so sorry, guys. I don't know why that happened. I'm gonna let you go back into your rooms, but you're gonna manually go into the room that you were in. So I'm not gonna reassign. Are they back in?
They're going.
Okay,
There's only a few left right now.
okay.
2.
I think automatically there's an automatic 5 minutes. So they've got 4 more minutes now.
Okay. Well, we are at 35 minutes and on schedule, we should be between 40 and 50 right now,
Okay.
but they're just not talking.
Okay. Well, we'll have to, we'll be calling on them now this time with the different scenarios again.
Yeah. Yes. You'll have time that you can go through every single one of them.
Okay. Let's see if I can go in. They've got 3 minutes, about 3 minutes and 45 seconds. Good. So Chip, you said we're how much ahead of time?
Right now, about 10 minutes.
Yeah, about 3 minutes. Now, the next activity that's on linked to the curriculum. So are they going to go back into breakout rooms?
No, I thought that would be too much. I'm going to have them do the chat
Good.
to post their responses.
Okay.
Besides, this is an individual one. This is not a group activity.
Okay. All right, 2 minutes. Okay. Okay. All right, they've got 1 minute.
You have 15 minutes
Okay,
to get us caught up.
okay. Oh, I'm going to open these windows again and copy the people. There we go. 20 seconds. Okay, they're going to close in 60 seconds now.
Here comes one.
Let's see. I think, okay, they're just about closed. Okay. All right. So what I'd like to do is we'll start this time in room 5. And if you will read the first scenario and share what you came up with in terms of the service learning types. So that's Kate or Shades.
So wait, for like maybe number 1.
Yes.
So number 1, we all decided that it was advocacy.
Okay.
What is it?
Would you please read the possible project for us?
Oh, yes. So number 1, after several driving accidents, students work with local insurance agents and police to develop a school-wide campaign to promote awareness of the dangers of high-speed driving. They produce public service announcements for the school and local cable TV stations. So yeah, we decided it was advocacy because they are telling, writing, or persuading individuals about community needs in order to solve a problem.
Okay. And let me ask a follow-up question. Let's say that this group and the leaders of this group decide that they want to make it more of a direct service learning type. Do you have any ideas what they could do?
Maybe offer classes to the individuals who are struggling with driving over the speed limit.
Mm-hmm. Good. All right. Let's go to number 2 and room number 4. Adam, Allie, or Andrea, would you please read the possible project and then what you think the service learning type would be?
Sure. So number 2 says, students investigate recycling practices in their school and community. They initiate a letter writing campaign to local waste management companies, asking them to distribute recycling containers to community members. And we wrote indirect.
Okay. So they're investigating, right? Okay. And how could you turn this one into a direct service learning? Any ideas? Anyone?
They could work with the recycling members and actually do the direct work.
Okay, good. Another thing they could do is to actually work with the people in the community and actually teach them how to recycle. You know, what goes where, what can be recycled. I know some organizations, you put everything into the waste container, but some you have to separate, you know, your recycling containers. So, all right, good. Let's go to room number 3, Fern, Bricky, and Stacy, and go ahead and read number 3 and what you came up with.
I'll read. Students educate peers at their school about proper nutrition. After reviewing the district's breakfast and lunch menus for 1 month, they make recommendations to the school board for healthy changes and lobby to get soda machines removed from the cafeteria. And we got research and direct because, I mean, they were directly working with their peers at the school and they did have to do some research.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what we got.
Okay, very good. Yes. And this working with their peers about proper nutrition is definitely, that could be both. Absolutely. Thank you. All right, let's go to room number 2. Cooper, Donna, June, and or Sharon. Read number 4, please. And what service learning type do you think that one is?
All right. I have several strengths. Okay, number 4. Students compete with other classes in their grade to raise money and awareness of hunger in their community during the week before the Super Bowl as part of the Super Bowl of Caring. As part of this project, students also decided which local organization will receive the money raised by this project. And we put direct and research.
Okay. Now tell me why you think this is direct. What would cause this to be direct?
What would cause it to be direct?
Mm-hmm.
Well, for one, they competed with other classes, and they competed with other classes.
Absolutely. And also, they're raising money, so it's indirect. But you could also say that it could be advocacy because they are deciding who's going to get this money to help with this Super Bowl of caring. And another thing they could do here with this one is they could actually, whichever organization receives the money, they could actually go to the organization and serve and do their service learning there with the organization. So this could be a few of those service learning types. Thank you. Room number 1, Emily, Iris, Cindy, could you do number 5 for us, please?
Sure. So number 5, students investigate the needs of their local homeless shelter. They discover a need for baby and youth size blankets. They work with a local craft center to make fun, cozy blankets for the children of homeless shelter residents.
What would you think this one is?
And we said indirect.
And why did you choose indirect?
Because they likely weren't going to actually have interactions with the children, the homeless children, based on the statement.
Good, absolutely. So the ones that we've looked at so far could be the ones that were indirect. These are things that could be done virtually, so that that you're not having direct contact. So that's a possibility that you might think about some of these ideas to conduct virtually. Let's go to number 6, and we'll go back to room number 5. Were y'all able to get to problem number 6? Kate and Shades, were you able to do number 6?
We were. Number 6 is high school students tutor 3rd graders once a week from October to May in reading. The older students plan their 45-minute tutoring to include pre-reading questions, fluent and inflective reading, and an activity to reinforce comprehension after reading a story. We said it was direct.
Okay, very good. Y'all have to excuse me, my cat's about to fall. Sorry about that. Oh, goodness. All right. Now, let me ask you a question, Kate and or Shades. Do you think that this could be done virtually?
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay. And let's go to room number 4. Adam, Allie, and Andrea. Were y'all able to get to number 7?
Yes, we were.
Okay.
Number 7, students partner with local elder center, with a local elder center to develop a grocery shopping service for homebound seniors in their community. Students work with elders to create a personalized shopping schedule and budget for each senior. And we said 2 on this one. We said research and direct,
Okay.
because you're doing a little bit of both.
You are. And again, I think this one could be done virtually as well in terms of working with the elderly person to get their ideas on their grocery shopping, actually go do the grocery shopping and drop it off, which, you know, a lot of places are actually doing this. So thank you. Let's see, room number 3, Fern, Bricky, and Stacy. Were you able to get to number 8?
We were not.
Okay. Did any of the other rooms get to number 8 that would like to do this one?
We did.
Okay.
So students are certified in CPR and basic first aid. Trained students then assist staff in training faculty and students in their school. Local community groups, boys and girls clubs, churches, and sports organizations are surveyed, and students work together to schedule trainings for those interested in learning CPR and basic first aid. And we said direct.
Okay, thank you. And number 9, were any of you able to get to number 9?
We were.
Oh, there we go. Thank you.
Students write a guide on available community services and translating it into Spanish and other languages of new residents. We actually said direct at the time, but now that I'm rereading it, I think that it might be advocacy as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Direct, it would be direct if they actually worked with the new residents and helped them with Spanish or other languages. But again, some of these could be a mixture of the 4. What makes it direct now is when you're in immediate contact with whomever you're doing the service learning with. So indirect is you're not going to have direct contact. So let's go back over to our PowerPoint. And Chip, would you go ahead and advance? So let's reflect just a minute. In terms of what we just did, can you think of other examples of direct, indirect, advocacy, or research projects? Did any come to mind as you went through this process? And you can just unmute yourself if you'd like to share. And don't everybody speak at once. What are some other examples of research projects, advocacy, indirect or direct, that you can think of that would work for where we are now?
Well, one of the projects that seems like would be timely right now is just an advocacy project to educate people about the importance of wearing masks and social distancing during this time of COVID.
Ooh, nice.
Thank you. Good. Okay. Would anyone else like to share? Okay, let's go to the next one, Chip. What factors of those projects make them meaningful to students? So let's go back to the driving accident. You know, what would make this particular project meaningful to students? Why would it be meaningful?
I think just to keep their peers and themselves safe after school.
Mhm. And they would be concerned about this. This would be something that they felt very strongly about, that there's a genuine need that needs to be met here. Proper school nutrition as well. There's a genuine need. And when you let your students have that voice and start looking around and seeing things that they feel are important to address, then the service becomes more meaningful. All right, Chip, to the next one. What activities can be conducted in each type of project that would be considered appropriate? Go ahead and advance for your students. So think about the students that you're going to be working with and that you're going to be creating service learning projects. Do any of these projects, possible projects, fit for your, make a good fit for your students and would be appropriate for your students? If so, speak up and let us know.
Any kind of project-based learning activities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Anyone else? So as you begin to start thinking about your project, and you will be developing a project as a part of the webinars that we're doing here, and we'll talk about that a little bit later today. You're going to need to start thinking about the age group of your students, some of their interests, some things that may be going on locally that you can begin to talk about and let them do some research and then come up with a possible project. These projects here have been done. I wanted to show you, let's see, got a book here. Oh, this one right here. This is a really good resource that I have. Okay, it's the Complete Guide to Service Learning. Can you see that? And it's by Catherine Berger Kay. There's a whole lot of subjects and service learning projects within this particular resource. And we are going to also give you a resource that's put out by NYLC. And it's called Health and Wellbeing, a Handbook for Online Service Learning in After School Programs. So when we finish in our last week, we will have a little handbook for you, and we'll put it in the chat window. And then we'll have some great resources for you to add to your repertoire for service learning. Okay, thank you, Chip.
So now we're going to move to the next quality standard, which is called Link to the Curriculum. And again, to define service learning, what you're doing has to have a direct tie to whatever your learning goals happen to be. They need to be very intentional so that the students understand that what they're doing is way beyond just the service they're performing, but it's the learning that is taking place on their part to be able to do that service. So it is intentionally used as an instructional strategy. And we have an equation, and no, we're not going to go into a math class here, but we do have an equation that helps to develop the concept of linking the service and the curriculum together. The service learning equation is the service activity plus the learning goals that you have set equals the service learning experience. So what we're going to do now as an activity, and this is going to be an individual activity, we're not going to put you back in the breakout rooms, but I'd like you to each come up with a service learning equation, filling in those topics with something that would work with your students in your circumstances, an activity that you either have done or are thinking about doing, or just maybe would like to do, what the learning goals would be with that activity, and then coming up with the service learning experience. I'm going to move on to the next slide and show you an example of one that this one just comes out of any good service learning training book. So the activity initially was to plant trees in a local park. It could be flowers, it could be shrubs, it could be anything. In the class that would apply perhaps to a biology class or certainly to an agriculture class to study the life cycle of plants. And then the full service learning project of combining those two would be to research the life cycle and rehab a local park. So now if you would take a couple minutes, think about what you could do that would create an equation just like that and put it in the chat box so that everybody can see it. And then we're going to come back and look at them. Thank you, Emily. By the way, the one that Terry posted about tutoring struggling readers, we've both taught classes where students did that. Matter of fact, we team taught a class where students did that.
Yeah, I meant to put in there, not only did they develop the lesson plans, but they actually tutored those struggling
Yeah.
readers. So, and this is a good time to kind of, feel things out. So, even if you're not sure, try to make an equation so that as we go through these webinars, we can help you pinpoint some really good ideas. Oh, yeah. Nice.
Oh, I like the kindness rocks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're going to give everybody about another minute to please post something that we can discuss. Well, we'll move forward now. And back onto our PowerPoint, we put a couple of other examples in. These are based on the example, or some of the examples that Mary gave last week. Here's one on opioid abuse, which is an activity that some of the after school network folks were involved in. The next one is workplace readiness and workplace skills. If any of you decide to do something with workplace, that's my background. I've spent the last 45 years in vocational technical education, so that I can help you with that anytime you'd like. And then a third one we came up was that disaster services and assembling tornado emergency kits with the help of the local FEMA office is a great activity. And both Terry and I live in Wilson County, and I'm specifically in Mount Juliet. And almost exactly a year ago, we had tornadoes came through here and did some very serious damage. So that one would really have applied here where I live. Terry, it's all yours.
I was just going to say, Chip, some more came into the chat room. This art auction campaign on inclusion and focus anti-bullying.
Oh, that's a real
program. Good. Scheduled visits to local veterans home and research wars that they fought in, develop an appreciation. These are really good ideas.
And the car accidents due to texting and driving, that's wonderful.
Yes. Yes. So we will again have the chat available. I've got that automatically saved so that if you want some ideas, and you want to keep these, I'll definitely have that. Okay, so let's reflect just a minute, and we need voices. We need everybody to participate and give us some voices. Let's talk about, reflect on student voice. And what I'd like for you to do, and you can use the chat box if you like, I'd like for you to share words that remind you of student voice and how it interacts with service learning, quality service learning. Now, we did a lot of words earlier with this, but what are some words that resonated with you for student voice? Mm-hmm. Good.
Impactful, empowerment,
Mm-hmm.
confidence and courage.
Value.
Yes.
Ownership. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Self-awareness,
Mm-hmm.
affirmation.
Mm-hmm. And these are the things that you're putting in the chat window and that we talked about earlier. These are things that we want our students to develop. And what a great place to do that in service learning. What a great way for these components, these, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, these characteristics, these things to develop in our students. Strategy, heartwarming.
And Adam listed leadership. That
Mhm.
ties in my mind back to those workplace skills. So
Mhm.
in addition to leadership, you could have team cooperation and responsibility, ethical behavior, recognition and appreciation of diversity. All those things come into play.
Thank
One of
you.
I'm sorry, Terry, go ahead.
No, go right ahead, Chip.
I would say one of the activities in the equations that somebody put up was working with senior citizens. There's a perfect example of diversity, having kids work with the elderly and coming to appreciate their experiences and their backgrounds. And maybe they're more diverse than just age, but they still have the opportunity to gain a lot of knowledge from those senior citizens.
Okay, so next, let's talk about meaningful service. Let's do a little reflection on meaningful service. What I want you to do here now is I want you to bullet or use a phrase to describe the importance of meaningful service to the participants. So, for example, think about your students and the different types of service learning that they can be involved in, and then what makes it meaningful to them. So you can put in a little phrase or a word. For example, fosters student ownership. There's a phrase right there. So let's see what you can reflect on in terms of meaningful service.
Cindy put having a personal connection. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Seeing a smile at the end of the day.
If the service becomes meaningful to your students, it might be something that they're going to want to continue, making a difference in the lives of others, thinking outside of themselves. Yes. Seeing that they can make an impact. Yes. Yes. Relationship building.
Emily has hit on what I consider the definition of leadership. A leader is someone who makes a difference in the lives of other people.
Yes. Yes. Now, the second part of the reflection I'd like for you to think about in terms of meaningful service is, how will you allow your students to determine what types of needs are within their community? What things can they do? What activities can they participate in to help them recognize the needs around their community? So for one, I'm going to put a walkabout. Of course, we can't really do many walkabouts now because of the pandemic, but there's an idea. What types of activities can your students engage in to begin to see needs and project possibilities around them? What are some things they can do? Round table talk, local news, good. Brainstorming, good. A needs survey, yes, yes. What about interviews? Yes. Group chats, nice.
Word of mouth. These are all great.
Yes. Community mapping. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Okay, last but not least, I think I love the activity that Chip did with the link to the curriculum. So for this reflection, I want you to think about a learning goal that you might have for your students in whatever situation you're in, or that you will be in when you implement this service learning. So think about a learning goal, and then think about how or what you could connect it with in terms of the community. So for example, if I have students who are, what I want them to learn basically is how to become better citizens. This fits right in with what we're talking about here. What types of things can they do in the community that's going to help them learn how to be a better citizen? We might look at mask wearing, that whole issue of some people don't feel like you should have to wear masks. Some people believe that you should. So one activity might be to let them research the pros and cons of mask wearing, and then present that to one another. So let's see what you've got in terms of linking to the curriculum or to your program goals. Let's reflect on that in the chat. It's a little tougher. This is getting a little more, you really got to think through, what are the learning goals that I have for my students, and what types of activities or service learning can they engage in to meet those learning goals?
And folks, while you're thinking on that, there is a handout in the chat that is basically just a chart that you can create a service learning equation in and use it however you would like.
Developing SMART goals in general. Good, Cindy.
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah.
I think probably this is one of the more difficult quality standards right here is this link to the curriculum or link to the program goals. So one thing that Chip and I will do, and we'll talk about this in just a few minutes, a little bit more, but on the next survey that you complete, we're going to ask you to start thinking about some of the goals that you have in your program, so that you can start connecting those goals with some outcomes in terms of service learning, because this is difficult. This is a challenge. Okay, Chip, you want to go ahead?
All right. Now we're going to think ahead for a little bit. This is webinar 2. The final webinar is number 4. And in webinar number 4, we have a closing activity or a culminating activity. And we're going to ask each of you to develop a service learning project for your students, something that in your mind will work with your students in your community, in your setting. We want you to utilize the service learning equation that we learned today to make sure that there is both an activity and some specific learning that fits into your program incorporated into the project. We're going to ask you to present it following the IPARDE process. So you have the steps, the IPARDE steps that we covered in the first webinar. And during webinar 4, each of you will have the opportunity to present your project using the Padlet app that Terry has shown you today and last time. It's a real easy process, and everybody's can be saved and looked at later on. So that's what we're going to be doing for the final activity. And the idea behind it is then you will have an outline for the project you need to follow or to create for the grant that you've all applied for with Mary. So this will give you an opportunity to have something together. If you use that for your activity, fine. If you use something else, if you want to use more student voice and as a result come up with something a little different, that's equally fine. But this will give you an idea of going through the process and experiencing the planning component of it for yourself. We will continue our training in service learning and specifically the quality standards in our next webinar, number 3. But we wanted to give you this information now so that you can be starting to think about it and getting ready for your presentation when we come together for the 4th webinar. Before we go on, are there any questions about this? Or are there any questions about anything else we did today?
It's a quiet group today, Chip.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're putting them to sleep.
I hope not.
This is Cindy. I don't have any questions at this point, but I have several Shades people on this call. And I was just wondering if you felt like it would be appropriate for them to actually start this process of student voice with their students now, so that whatever project they do come up with for this activity would be more applicable to being able to be used right away.
Oh, absolutely. Are the kids that you have now, are they the same ones who will be doing the activity?
I believe so. I think everybody's planning on doing the service learning the 4th semester. So I believe so.
Yeah.
Well, then that's absolutely wonderful. Go right ahead.
Yes.
Start.
That's ideal.
Yeah, because you're facing a situation that a lot of people don't get, and it's a good one because you have some extra time.
Mm-hmm.
And that investigation stage that starts out the IPARDE, which is where so much of the student voice happens, that allows for virtual discussions. I mean, you can do it on Zoom just like we're doing now, and the kids can talk if you're not able to come together. So sure, Cindy, go ahead and do it.
Mhm. Okay.
We
can you-
don't know where y'all are from, so it's hard
Yeah.
for us to put them together.
Exactly. Can you go ahead and advance to the next one? Okay, so for your homework, you will have a second survey. And on this particular survey, you're going to be able to put your name. Go ahead and complete the survey. And at the very end of the survey, you're going to be able to upload a picture. I sent out an email to you at the end of last week, and I didn't give you enough time to do this. But what I'd like for you to do as a part of our community building is to upload a picture that describes you. Could be your pet. I did get 2 pictures today, a pet. As you can see, I've got Tux and Butch here. It's kind of a unique picture. And those cats, if you've heard them, they've been all behind me in my shelves today. So I keep looking back because I'm thinking one of them's going to fall. And then the second picture I shared there, just another example, is Ferdinand. And this is a picture of my brother John's Fern. I was out in San Diego with him a week or so ago. And that Fern's just beautiful. So if you will, I'd like for you to upload one picture. It can be something unique in your home or in your yard or of you. And we are going to post a collage of us next week as part of our community building. So one aspect of service learning is getting to know the participants. And so I hope you will engage with us in that. So look for that link to the second survey as a part of your homework. Now, as a part of the grant, you've got to do the surveys in order to get your certificate and also to receive the monies for the grant. So if you have any questions, you feel free to contact Chip or I, and we'll help you with that.
And on that, we can say that our next webinar will be on Monday, the 22nd. It will start at 9:30 Central Time. If we hear from you in between, we'd love to do that. And we'll respond as well as we can. And otherwise, we will see you all on the 22nd.
Be safe and stay warm, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Have a great week, folks.